Good morning and welcome to VSA Capital 5-Minute Morning Miner on Friday, January the 21st. It's a cold and sunny morning, but the markets are pretty horrible. It's a day to sit and hide behind the sofa. Paul, are you hiding behind the sofa?
I'm not hiding behind the sofa, but can't believe some of the news that's come out today.
There is some quite amazing news out today. Let's start off with the one that's really confused me, and that is that the exploration license has been revoked by the Serbian government for the Rio and their Jadar lithium mine. Is this perhaps because the Aussies kicked Novak Djokovic out of the Australia when he was trying to play in the Australian Open? Maybe this is their revenge. What do you think, Paul?
Well, all I know is that it is incomprehensible, I guess, from a pragmatic standpoint as to why they would have revoked the licenses of Rio Tinto on what is the Europe's largest lithium deposit for the battery sector and the climate agenda. But that has happened as of yesterday. The speculation is it's a political move because the party in power is knuckling under to pressure from green lobby groups that are just have been protesting against just mining in general and mining's pollution legacy rather than the deposit specifically. But it's definitely the wrong signal to send to the mining industry as well as the European politicians of all kinds interested in the climate agenda for sure. So we'll see what happens.
Paul, it's a problem that people have got to get their heads around. Is that as you say, it's the Greens trying to stop it, but without it, we can't have a green economy.
Yes, that's.
And this is the whole problem that basically I think a lot of people don't understand about the whole transitional energy revolution. Is it has to come with mining.
It does, because simply the raw materials in order to deliver all of the green equipment that needs to be deployed, whether it's photovoltaic panels or wind turbines or to substitutions of energy, power systems and fuels, all of those sorts of things are still in the ground. And we don't have those above the surface yet in near enough quantities in order to meet population needs of anyone across the world. So, and we also need the time in order to train as many people as we need in order to deploy that over the next 30 years as well. There just isn't enough labor force available for that at this point. So people just aren't getting that message.
There is a huge amount of misunderstanding, unfortunately. If you look at, for instance, slight red herring, but the nuclear industry, of course, the Greens hate the nuclear industry because they regard it as dangerous and everything else. But the reality is that, even though I'm not necessarily a fan of the nuclear industry myself, the nuclear industry is probably the most efficient and cleanest way in many ways of creating energy. I think you'd agree with that, wouldn't you, Paul?
Well, it is the most efficient for and power dense material for uranium is for the purposes of baseload power generation, which is always on. So that is winning over in recent months. I think some nations do that understand that they need this foundational power source in order to make the transition.
And you've hit the nail on the head there, actually, and we are going off on a complete tangent, but I'm going to finish this anyway before we go back to the news. Is that actually, if you look through the history of mankind, basically we have got more and more dense in terms of our energy source. We started with wood, which I guess the Greens wouldn't like because, you're cutting down trees. We then moved to coal, which actually is carbon slightly more compressed. Again, the Greens don't like that. We then moved to oil and gas, where they got even more compression, and obviously nuclear with uranium is probably the most compressed. You can't win is the answer, but you have to have energy, you've got to have power, you've got to have light. There is a lot of misunderstanding that goes on in the world. Anyway, we probably shouldn't go down that channel, and I can rant and rave about it forever. Anyway, the big news obviously there is it's Rio. Now, come on, Paul, what else have we got today before I start ranting and raving?
Shanghai Mining Club member Voyager Metals put out assays on 6 more holes from its Mont Sorcier iron tie vanadium project in eastern Canada. The holes are essentially confirming the thickness and grades that they already have from previous drilling. But this all part of advancing the project toward development studies. Consistent grades in these holes, 25 to 35% iron and magnetite and 0.2 to 0.3% vanadium. So no surprises there, and the thicknesses are consistent around 100 meters of thickness in the holes. So just more of the same. They still have 18 holes yet to report from the last program.
Very good. We've got some news out of AIM-listed Kavango Resources.
Yes, that's right. That's the Botswana grassroots explorer. They completed a gravity geophysical survey in Botswana, and I've identified a good size target here that coincides with a magnetic anomaly of similar size, about 7 kilometers in diameter, buried in the subsurface. Their business model is to test unknown things with modern technology. So the idea now would be to put a drill hole down there just to see what is causing this gravity and a magnetic anomaly. It's probably some sort of an intrusion of basic rock, but the big question, does it contain anything useful like nickel and PGMs?
Time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah, we also on nickel. We've Centaurus Metals. They've raised $75 million, haven't they, on the TSX overnight?
Yes, Centaurus is also backed by Appian here in London as a private equity group, and it's a very successful explorer here for nickel and PGMs in Brazil here. 75 million raised here in this latest deal, and almost all of it was institutionally placed. And this part of raising the funds for the ongoing drilling program here on the Jaguar deposits. They need about 90 kilometers more of drilling to do in order to get into completion of DFS. So this will go very much in funding that.
Okay. Anything else you got for us today, Paul?
Yes, it is important to state for that the shareholders of Pretium agreed yesterday overwhelmingly to be taken over by Newcrest. So that joins Newcrest up with some Canadian, some Alaskan gold production here. It makes them more of a multinational gold producer.
I mean, the majors like Newcrest are all out looking for acquisitions, aren't they, to build their gold portfolios? And we're going to see more and more takeovers by the majors of the smaller gold companies.
Yes, as the deposits grow in size among the juniors, they become more attractive to the majors in order to fill the portfolio.
And the juniors actually aren't reflecting that at the moment and should be performing better. It's interesting. I believe I was looking at some statistics that when you have a commodity bull market, actually equities often, or the equities of the miners often take 2 to 3 years before they actually start performing properly. So we're obviously only probably 18 months or so into this latest phase of the commodities bull market, super cycle, whatever you want to call it, which is almost certainly going to carry on. So equities will probably in about 12 months suddenly start flying. So there is still time to get into these mining stocks. I would suspect most generalist fund managers are underweight mining.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
That is a very dangerous place to be. If I was a generalist fund, I would be saying, how the hell do I get some of these mining stocks into my portfolio? But that's generalist funds for you. Too many of them are like sheep and just fly over herd. Anyway, on that note, let's go and have a weekend. Enough ranting and raging. We've gone on for nearly far too long. Enjoy the weekend, everybody who's listening, and we'll be back next week.
See you then.